It's January 15th, 2026, and welcome to episode 113 of the Driving Forward podcast. Whether you're joining us live or listening to one of our 18 platforms, including Reese Across America Radio, where we broadcast every Tuesday evening from 7 to 8 p.m. Central Time, we appreciate your support. Mr. Bain, how you been?
I'm good, sir. It's been a hot minute since I've been on. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, it's really, last week was the first week back after 2-3 weeks off or whatever, and it was kind of nice, I gotta say, just not having that pressure. So, holidays were good for you.
My internet died, so I was only on for like half the show.
Yeah. Oh, that's true, right? Yeah. Holidays were good for you.
Holidays are great, man. Got to see the kiddos and did some traveling and settle into the new place in Maryland. So that's awesome. And now just we're 3 weeks out from a big event for myself, and then Manifest, one of the biggest events in the space. So it's definitely exciting times. I don't know if I lost Nate.
Some numbers. Wish I could be there. I'm not so sure. I actually wish I could be there. I'm not sure I can let you. I still have that video I haven't put out of you passing out. So
let's wait till after,
maybe someday
before we ever post that. So
yeah. That's one thing to watch on video. It's another thing to experience in real life. So, all right, coming up next week, we have Dale Prax and Danielle Spinelli on talking about freight fraud and cybercrime. All the usual Dale Prax and Danielle Spinelli topics. So looking forward to this one. It's been a minute since we've done a specific freight fraud episode. I think October or September, somewhere in that range. So looking forward to chatting with those two. People that have come close, very close friends there. Talk with both of them frequently. So Dale's going to be at a few upcoming conferences as well. Not sure what Danielle's schedule looks like. Following that, we have the Freight Movement Twin Cities Networking Hour for December. It's at Fat Pants Brewing in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Thursday the 22nd from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. If you're in the Minneapolis area and want to swing by, if you work for CH, this is right in your backyard. So no more excuses from the CH guys saying it's too far to get there. So we're right in your back door for this one. So swing on by 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. on the 22nd. Manifest 2026 at the Venetian, February 9th through 11th. This is our crew that's going. I don't think we're bringing anybody else, but you never know. We're expecting 7,000 plus innovative people this year, including 2,000 shippers, 1,500 startups and investors, 400 speakers, over 60 countries will be represented. If you'd like to join us, use one of our discount codes and let us know you'll be seeing that we'll be seeing you there. So if we can put up, there we go, we got it. Following the opening session of Manifest, join us for a Freight Movement experience. February 9th from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Venetian. It's at 1923, which is a speakeasy above the North Tower escalators. So we'll get maps out. A big thanks to Venture 53 as our title sponsor. Clio, Journey, JLCS, Virago Marketing, and we're chatting with a few others that are going to help us out. Now, this isn't just a little experience. This is going to be 500 people. So we already have 232 signed up as of last night. So we're stacked, and we're going to fill this place. We're also using the Ice Bar as our VIP lounge for the first hour. And then following that, we'll have open access to that for anyone that's coming to this experience. So there's a link. Let's get the link up, or it'll be dropped in comments. We'd love to see you there. If you're at Manifest, swing by our event and chat with us. In addition to Manifest 2026 upcoming events, we have TCA following Manifest. Actually, March and April are going to be stacked. So TCA, one of my favorite conferences, also of the year in a different light. We'll be in Orlando, Florida. I'll actually be there for like a whole week or so on vacation. I'm tying that in with the convention. We'll be taking the podcast live as well at TCA this year. So TMC following TCA, that's a big one also. That one's in Nashville this year though. So following that, we have a whole bunch of other stuff going on. Notably, BCS is in Kansas City this time. If you haven't signed up for BCS or Broker Carrier Summit, please do. All right. So today we're joined by Katie Date, the Senior Vice President of Industry Relations and Strategic Initiatives. It's a little bit of a mouthful, Katie. Behind Manifest, the future of supply chain and logistics. One of the few events that truly brings the whole supply chain ecosystem into the same room. Bain, this is one that notably, this has got to be, if not your favorite, one of the top 2 or 3 of the year, right?
It is absolutely up there. It's you have this confluence of things. If people have heard me talk about Manifest before, you're going to hear this again. But you have the confluence of the first big event of the year. You're in Las Vegas. It's either the week of or the week after the Super Bowl. You have a lot of people that are in new roles. You've got a lot of organizations making announcements, whether it's going to be new product, new features, mergers, all types of stuff, all coming together in one spot. And so the excitement is palpable. It's an incredible event. It's not an event that you can just show up to. I think we're going to talk about that. But if you do the effort and put in the work before the event, the success and the things you reap coming out of there are unbelievable. It's the best way. It truly is. It's an incredible event. I've been able to, build my personal brand through that, as well as, GLCS has grown incredibly because of the association with Manifest. So it's fun. And like I said, Vegas in February versus the Midwest. Yes, please.
Absolutely. So Mr. Fisher, thanks for the comment. And Chris, it's good to hear from you, buddy. I'm looking forward to chatting with you sometime soon. The holidays have been a monster. So to get back to Katie's intro here, Katie resides where shippers, carriers, brokers, and freight tech cross roads. And her job is simple to say, but hard to pull off. And that's build the rooms where real relationships form and real business gets done. Before Manifest, Katie spent nearly a decade with MIT's Center for Transportation and Logistics, working with industry leaders and helping shape how the supply chain thinks about talent, leadership, and what's next. So today we're going to talk about where Manifest is headed, how to be successful at Manifest, really how to be an attendee, what the market is demanding in 2026, and we're going to walk through a plan, walk through creating a plan for attendees, and determine some outcomes for them as well. So Katie, welcome to Driving Forward.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be with you guys.
Absolutely. We're excited to attend your event. So last year was, it was actually my second or third one last year. And there was definitely a change in the way that our world existed with Manifest last year. So let's start out with this line of questioning. And I know we're going to spend some time on a variety of different topics, but explain what Manifest is and what makes it different from a typical transportation or freight tech conference.
Yeah, absolutely. So Manifest is an ecosystem event. I think you mentioned it before this year, over 7,000 attendees, and everyone from the shippers, the carriers, the brokers, technology providers, but also the startups and investors that aren't typically at, your run-of-the-mill conference. And we bring them all together, all in one room. And we like to say that this is, where the magic happens and where the deals are made. and looking at your event that you're gonna have, that looks like there's gonna be some deals that are made at that event too.
Last year we had 120 person social hour at the exact same time. Excuse me, and we cycled 218 people through it. And so this year it's like, let's find the biggest place in the Venetian that we can go and lock that down and then fill it with people. And so far we seem to be doing pretty well, considering that we're, 3-4 weeks out and we're half full already. So, that's just amazing. So yeah, once again, if you haven't signed up for it, sign up for it. We're probably going to have to do a little triage with who's signing up, because we're going to end up running out of space, but it is what it is. We're happy to fill it all the way up. So practically speaking, who's in the room, or who's the typical attendees of Manifest? So you you spelled that out briefly in your definition of it, but who typically do you target to attend, and why? I guess I'm going to add the long question behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really intentional in our, outreach and attendee acquisition to make sure that we have a cross section. We don't want to have a majority of, any one type of person within the ecosystem. I think we tend to attract the decision makers, because like I said, this is a place where deals are happening. So our attendees are definitely some of the most senior in the industry. It's one of the few places where I think you can walk the hallways and see big chief supply chain officers walking the hall, but also you're going to see the individual contributors and the directors and the managers that are making the supply chain run as well, and all kind of in the same place. I would say our content, because it spans the entire supply chain, you see a really good variety of different verticals and different types of people.
Perfect. So this is the 5th anniversary. This is the 5th one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
5th anniversary.
And you came on board, I think we were just talking about this. You have been to all of them, right? Or just the second one on?
Just the second one on. I wasn't at the first one at the Paris. I had a brand new baby at that point, and no one wanted me traveling during Omicron. So
yeah. So in your experience, what's the biggest way that the show or Manifest has changed since you came on board, or since you've been attending, and what has kind of directed that change?
Yeah, I mean, certainly we've grown exponentially. That first event was barely cracking 1,000, and now we're up to 7,000. There's certainly a lot more tech that is being represented, but also many different verticals within the supply chain. We've made a conscious effort to make sure that it's not just traditional big retailers and manufacturers, that we're really reaching out to the entire supply chain to make sure that everyone has a representation. And then the one thing that I think that hasn't changed is the connection. Like, even as we've grown, connection is still like truly at the heart of everything that we do.
Well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of other shows will talk about connection, and when you put 7,000 people together, it's whatever last year was, 5,000-6,000. The connections made. I mean, we have several that we made that are very important to us today, and both on a personal and on a business level. So there's interesting. I think of one person sitting next to me at a dinner that we were at, and we sit there, and she goes, "You're from Minnesota?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "So am I." And she goes, "I live in this town." I'm like, "Well, I'm 5 minutes away from you." So, and we're now doing business with them, and so on and so forth. So you never know what you're going to find. I was just talking to another CEO who's based out of Minnesota, and or executive that's based out of Minnesota, and we're gonna get together with them there. But him and I never have time to chat here in town. So we're going to fly all the way to
to
Vegas.
travel to Vegas in order to have a cup of coffee together. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump into the first interesting topic, which is, there's a lot of people on the fence this year, or we've been hearing that. I don't know if there's a lot of people, but there's definitely some vocal folks that have announced that they're on the fence. So how should someone really be successful about this? And I think this will tie up a ton of time when we start walking down the road, because we started walking down this road in the green room before. But how does someone make manifest successful? Let's throw it on out there.
Yeah. So number one, you need to do your homework. You need to treat the entire 3 days like a working meeting, not like a passive conference. The people that I've spoken to that maybe are on the fence or have attended before and are feeling a little unsure, they attended and thought that like I'm there and let's do it. But with this event, it is so big, but it's designed intentionally with tools that help you to really get the most out of it if you do your homework. So maybe the first thing we talk about is the app. It's our proprietary technology. I'd love to hear both of your experience with it, but the goal is the app was released yesterday, so you have a month to go in there, do your homework, make connections, set meetings in the one-to-one meeting zone, make LinkedIn connections, and really kind of develop a couple of different, primary objectives. I always warn people, don't completely book your whole day solid, because you need that like flex time, but don't walk in without any meetings.
Agreed. I like the app. I'll say, I probably sit out of the app more than most people, but this year we'll probably be a little more intentional. Last year, meetings we came in with a plan. So we do this with and if you actually listen to us or have listened to us for years, we've done full episodes on how to make conferences successful. So, first and foremost, you have to come in with that plan. Like, why are you attending Manifest? And we'll categorize conferences into a couple different ways. One, we may just walk it and explore. And in that case, our plan is to learn about the conference and decide if we're going to bring a much larger group of people. The second one is we're coming for education for ourselves. And, so we're probably being more intentional about the sessions and less about sales. And then third, so that's more of a general attendance. Sales we're always interested in, but ultimately, if we're focusing on learning, sales is not going to be. We're not looking for a big return on that conference. And then the third is we are there to sell, and we certainly put Manifest in that category. Obviously, networking is one thing, but we're there to do business. We're not there to just learn. Obviously, we're going to learn as well, and ultimately, with some of them, you got to add the tagline of having fun as well. So, yep. Which you guys do a pretty good job at. So,
I mean, I think it's important to take a step back from, because you're going to a conference, you've got all these things that are already in front of you. You've got the expense of the conference. I mean, it's not a free ride per se. You have the expense to go there. You have the expense for accommodations, for the ticket itself, for food, all kinds. So you have that. What is your role? Like Nate, obviously you have a role as an executive. I have a role as a director of partnerships, as well as everything else that I do with GLCS and outside of that. So then what is your goal with those roles? And your case is going to be a little different than mine are, even though, yes, we're looking to sell. And Katie, your goals are going to be different because obviously you are a member of the staff for the conference. So knowing what those goals are, then start to work backwards from there. Well, what helps me achieve those goals? If I'm looking to look at both startups and established tech companies to build our partnership network, I'm going to start going through those, looking at who are service providers, who are tech companies, which is a great thing you can search for in the app, by the way, shameless plug. And you can start finding those people and say, hey, like, show some interest. And then also look at what else am I trying to do? If I'm looking to continue to grow my personal brand, who would help with that? Do I want to talk to some of the other maybe more public facing people in the space, like a Charlie Safford or a Brenna Rasuga, just to get around some of those folks? Like, hey, like, how do I do this kind of stuff? Again, I'm looking at people who maybe have never done this or never done it at Manifest. And then if you're looking from a sales perspective, who is it you sell to? In our case, we're going to sell to trucking companies, to brokerages, possibly to freight tech, and other types of transportation service providers. So great. Who is doing that? That is going to be attending. And then when you break it all down, you look at, well, how do I structure my day? To your point, don't book the whole stupid thing, because as soon as one conversation gets really going good, the whole day's screwed up. And it's not the kind of pressure you want. So look at one coffee, one lunch, possibly a dinner, one session so you can learn some stuff, and then everything else, let it all fall where it may. That basic structure, I mean, I've been doing this exact way at Manifest since the very first one. And I would say the success is, I don't want to say immeasurable because it's quite measurable, but it's been fantastic. And now when you get the momentum of having done this a couple, 3 times at this specific conference, as well as other ones, this stuff starts to happen for you because people know you're attending, they know you're going, and folks already reach out to you before you even start that process.
Right. And if I can just add one thing that I think you're really good at, you go into the app and you build your profile like fairly quickly, and you do it extensively so that people know exactly people know who you are. But for people that maybe are a little bit less known, it's so important for you to build that profile. Otherwise, you're just going to get, everybody and their brother is going to be reaching out. But if you build that profile and narrow in on what your interests are, the app is smart, AI smart, but it's smart, and it'll start recommending to you people to connect with that are already connected to Bain or already connected to Nate, because you have like-minded interests. And it'll take your interest as you build it, as you make connections, and it'll continue to suggest to you. So if you don't start with that first step and then you get frustrated at the people that are reaching out to you, well, dude, that's on you.
And I want to add to that, as you reach out to people, this is especially for like first timers or maybe folks that aren't like at a VP or an executive level, punch above your weight class. If there's a chief supply chain officer, show interest. One, you never know if they're going to connect to you, which is cool. And then 2, if you get that connection, you actually get a meeting with them, say, hey, like, can I spend just 5 minutes to just pick your brain? Like, you are farther along down the road than I am. I'm not looking to sell you anything, but that's networking 101. But that is a huge thing for them, because they know, like, I'm not going to get pitched. I'm just going to talk to this person. And typically they're much more likely to take that meeting, which is, again, a great little kind of feather in your cap too, because when you go home and say, hey, I talked to the chief supply chain officer for PepsiCo, nobody says anything to you after that. Like, oh, cool, great job.
Yeah, I agree with that one. So, and that applies to anyone, anywhere, at any time that's trying to grow. But ultimately, you're in a great audience and amongst many, many peers. So put yourself at tables that make you feel a little uncomfortable, and have the conversations with people that you probably wouldn't, or target them and know what they look like so you can see them across the room and go present yourself to them. But don't be afraid. A lot of people have some fear that go with this. Don't be afraid to sit down at the table with a bunch of faces that seem like they might be someone you wouldn't feel comfortable approaching. You'll probably find out that they're pretty comfortable to approach. But we're all there to network and talk. And if you're out in the open, people are going to be willing to talk to you. So
I want to share a success story with that. I know we're going to go to a commercial here in a second, Nate. Go back 2 years ago, our first Manifest together. Yeah, you know exactly where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I know which one you're going to. So yeah.
I had done this effort. I put in this work before the conference and during the networking now. So after registration, before the opening reception, everyone's together. We're at Caesar's shops, and everyone's shaking hands, doing the thing, right? And then I see this person kind of knifing their way through. And I had reached out to Ben Gordon on the app to say, hey, like, I'm a fan, love what you do in the space, love the companies you worked with, really, really awesome. And Nate and I had probably 10, 15 people around us. And Ben, nice through the whole thing, and says, hey, don't want to interrupt, just want to say big fan, shakes my hand, said, would love to talk to you at some point during the conference. Exactly. That's exactly what my face was like. I was like a little puppy.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, Bain turned into a puppy, so that's he was like the look on his face was a look I don't think I've ever seen since then. So yeah,
you could have put me in the puppy park. That's exactly what I was like. It was, but that's because again that effort was put in beforehand. And again, whether Ben appreciated that, whatever, and again, I appreciate it because it was a super cool moment. But what a cool success story that now whenever I see Ben, we get a quick handshake. Hey, how's it going? How are things? And it's a 5-minute conversation. But again, you have somebody who has a lot of, I would say pull, but also just, visibility in the space. And he would know me on site. And that's exciting.
Yeah. Expanding on that point, people, when you're reaching out to people via the app, be concise. Like, come out and say, like, you know, what you want to meet about. Don't just send a generic, hey, I'd like to meet with you. Like, don't be afraid to put in the message, I enjoy like your career trajectory, or if you're a salesperson, obviously that's a pretty clear message, but don't be vague. Put it out there so that you're taking and you're showing respect to the person that you're reaching out to.
100%.
So you talked a little bit about the app. It's AI driven. What are there some new changes to the app this year at all that you're aware of?
So one change in the app that we've put in place to make both the time of our sponsors more efficient, as well as the time of our shippers, is if companies are coming as a team and they've let us know that they're coming as a team, we've connected them in the app so that if GLCS reaches out and they happen to reach out to 5 people from Pepsi, for example, in different areas of the business, all of Pepsi team will know that request came in, so that you can streamline it and you can have one meeting with 5 people in it rather than 5 separate meetings, which I think is going to be a huge efficiency driver, both on the sponsor side, because they don't have to give the same pitch 5 times in a row, but also for the shippers, they can all get in a room together. And I know that this is something that people have been doing organically, but
Right.
this just helps.
Yeah, I know that there's a few components of it, I think that sound great. That being one, absolutely. So the not having to overlay and not having lots of meetings that are redundant. I think that's one of our we certainly don't want to have that happen, and that's something that we've battled a little bit of ourselves just as attendees, and I think that's clean. So I actually would love to give you a few ideas on looking at it from a CEO perspective. That's primarily been an attendee. I know we were close to sponsoring this year, but maybe next year. So, but have a couple thoughts on that too. So, so we got about a minute before break. Let's line that up with what are some of the more. Let's get away from the why you want to attend, and so let's line up this one. We can go over just a little bit. What are the topics that are getting the most interest in them right now of this year at Manifest?
So anything that has AI, Gen AI, automation, robotics in the title, whether it's in the description of their company or it's in a session title, those are very popular. I've noticed an overarching theme around companies wanting visibility, which again feeds back into the AI, creating transparency, creating resilience in their supply chains. But I think the companies that are going to come out ahead are the ones that are using AI in a smart way and can clearly demonstrate their use cases, whether it's on stage in one of the sessions or on the expo floor, because there's definitely a hype curve there, but also there's a lot of companies that are doing some really cool stuff. So I'm excited to hear more.
Yeah, I agree. There's very interesting things, and then there's time sinks, and unfortunately, you have to be able to mine your way through that as an operator. So,
Yeah.
all right, we're going to take a quick break. If you have questions about Manifest or any of the topics that Manifest is covering, any of the sessions, anything, now is your time to put in that comment. But we'll be back in about a minute and a half from break, and we'll keep going from there.
If your fleet's downtime looks like chaos, you're missing out on GLCS. In the time-critical world of trucking and logistics, every minute counts. Meet GLCS, your expert partner in managed IT and technology services. We integrate seamlessly with your team, bringing seasoned IT professionals with deep trucking and logistics expertise. Imagine your software updates running smoothly, complex issues resolved quickly, and operations humming with efficiency. GLCS has your back. Our support doesn't just fix problems, it prevents them with our industry connections and proactive approach. We keep your trucks rolling and your brokers working. Think of us as the added resource your company needs to unleash its full potential. Visit glcs.net today and keep your business driving forward. GLCS, where efficiency meets expertise.
All right, we are back. So in the time that we started this, we actually had 8 more people sign up for our event. So and what's fun on that is there's a lot of companies that I've never even heard of. So which is abnormal for me. So but yeah, 8 more people have just signed up. So we're gonna cap. So that's.
I better sign up quick.
Yeah, well, we'll get you special tickets, Katie.
Okay.
So we'll get you in. So it'll be all good. So, let's talk about. A lot of our audience is asset-based carriers. They may have brokerages as well. What is your recommendation for them? What's the best way for them to use Manifest to build shipper relationships? Or there's also a substantial amount of freight tech as well. But what's your thoughts there? I know we're kind of talking about strategy on how to exploit Manifest as best as they can, but let's tap on just a carrier subject itself.
Yeah, I think, it kind of depends on what their primary objective is. So if their primary objective is to go and evaluate tech, then, make sure that you have a list of who you want to meet with and set some meetings ahead of time. But for a lot of them, they're not in a position where they really want to be evaluating tech right now. They just want to meet the shippers. And so the advice that I always give is, make sure that you're showing up kind of as not like a strong salesperson that's going to badger the shipper, but show up as someone who can be a value creator, show up as someone who can be a problem solver, and approach them in a little bit different way. Yeah, no, totally. I get a fair number of complaints from shippers, because those are the people that I'm closest to, about just being bombarded with the same like copy paste message. I just sent this message to 1,000 people. The ones that they respond to are the people that take the time to do, again, a little bit of research and craft a message that's just a little bit personal, that meets them, where they're at a little bit. yeah, you maybe could only send 20 of those messages instead of, 2,000 copy paste, but I guarantee you that the business that you're going to cultivate as a result of taking a little bit more time and a little bit more personal approach, you're going to end up in the end coming out with a better outcome, I think, personally.
I think the analogy of, if you look at the different ways that people can approach sales, right? Spray and pray is one way. You can certainly do that, and you will have some level of success, whether it is just, to your point, 2,000 cold emails, one person gets back to you, or if you do 20 and you get 2 that comes back, certainly from a percentage perspective, and then from a sheer number, it's better. But also it's going to be a much more intimate connection. I think that's one of the things we chatted about a little bit with how Manifest is designed around, even though it's large, to still have an intimacy level between the people that are there, having those personally crafted messages. And there's a way to do that without being weird. Go look at somebody's LinkedIn profile. There's a ton of information on there. And I mean, even something as simple as we had a conversation with someone yesterday on the technology side, and he went to the University of Georgia. I went and looked at what years he was there based on his LinkedIn profile. A guy that I used to train with and played in the NFL was there for 2 years while he was there. Turns out their frats were next door to each other. They kind of half knew each other. Simple connection, but one very simple way to say, okay, like, I am different than everybody else who's reaching out to you. We have a mutual person. Reach out to Phil. Phil tells you I'm not a scumbag.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about, supply chain. Yeah, it's big, but really it's small. Everybody knows everybody. And if you can find that point of connection, it's going to be so much easier and so much more successful to get through to people.
So let's talk about that. Let's go into how it's designed for you. It's taking a path to create a smaller engagement. So you have shipper roundtables, you have meeting rooms. So how are you keeping it small while still being gigantic?
Yeah, so I like to say that Manifest is kind of like multiple events happening within each other. You alluded to, we have the sponsored roundtables, we have the shipper only roundtables. You can look at each of the sessions kind of as an ecosystem in and of itself, because if you're interested in that topic, chances are the person that's also in that room watching, the presentation probably has an interest too. Don't be weird and just sit there with your head, in your phone. Like, introduce yourself to people. Like, it boggles my mind when people are like, oh, I went to 4 sessions today and I didn't meet anyone. And I'll say, like, well, did you introduce yourself to the person sitting here or
you're literally surrounded by people.
You're literally surrounded by people. Or if somebody asks an awesome question in a panel, go up to them after. Probably you have some synergies. That's how in my opinion, that's how it keeps things a little bit smaller. Same thing with a lot of the activations. If you're at the golf simulator, probably the person at the golf simulator also likes golf. Maybe you could talk about golf. Maybe right. If you're at the pub, you know what I mean? It's just, to Bain's previous point, just be a human. Quit being weird.
Well, interaction and not having the fear. Go ahead, Bain. Yeah.
So fun weird is cool. Don't be weird.
Fun weird is cool. Yeah.
Weird. Yeah. I like to float in the middle. So
fair.
But I think the fear ends up getting people. It is a big event, and people just, there's a pause before they do things, and sometimes you're putting yourself out there, and in a lot of cases people are not used to that, and they're not used to talking in front of larger groups of people or peers that they hold in high regard. A friend of mine told me this a while ago, and he's pretty well known also. When he goes into sessions, or if he's in a large group as well, if there's a keynote speaker that he knows is going to have questions, he'll actually craft up his questions before he even gets there. And he'll make 5 or 6 of them, because relevancy might be more important on one or the other. But he'll do a question that the person that he's addressing will resonate with, and that is extremely important. He'll ask it in front of a large group as well. So, I think anyone that's taking pause about introducing themselves can take that tactic, and then there's a little bit more structure on I'm reading something that I pre-prepared, or I have it already crafted in my mind. I'm not having to come up with something on the spot. So when you ask a great question, people will come up to you afterwards and talk to you. You don't have to introduce yourself. They're just going to come up. So you can take that one leap of faith and have a group of people come up and say, hey, that really resonated with me or whatnot. We got a comment from Chris Sonic here. I think he introduced himself to panelists and thanked them for a good session. And that was his way of building confidence and getting more comfortable in these large group settings, which just saying thanks, hi, I'm so-and-so, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's a great way to break some ice. So
yeah, and panelists appreciate that.
Chris is a great person to talk to when it comes to just operations, sales, like how businesses are run. He's helped grow a nice sized brokerage there in Minneapolis. And I mean, great point right there as far as how to interact with panelists. Like for folks who are not connected with him, he's a great connection to have.
Absolutely. All right. So what else is new at Manifest? I'm going to throw that generically out there so you can just pull forward anything we haven't hit on, even though I've got a few other things. So
yeah. So the big new thing is super cool. It's the Cold Chain Pavilion. So for those of you that haven't heard about the giant Cold Chain Pavilion, we took feedback from everyone on the survey last year and a little bit from the year before, saying how important it is to really give some space to the cold chain, both for the food service people, but as well as life sciences and pharma. So it will have its own stage where you will see both tech being presented, as well as some case studies from shippers talking about their cold chain. There will be service providers exhibiting in there. It's just, in general, it's our first kind of foray into one of these mini pavilions, and I'm really excited about it. And we'll see kind of how this works and how it, maybe expands into other topics based on feedback for the coming years.
Do you have any thoughts on what the next big cold chain challenge is going to be?
So one of the cool things is they're going to be talking about how to ship chocolate in the summer, which is personally one of my favorites. But there will also be some talk around pharmaceuticals and vaccines and important medical stuff that saves lives. That is also is important. And again, going back to before the break,
chocolate saves lives.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, fair. But technology all around, visibility and traceability, particularly in the cold chain, is super important as well.
Yeah, fair enough. So cold chain is certainly one that I'm gonna sneak down and figure everything out and run through that. I really want to see what the pavilion actually is and walk through it. I'm a refrigerated freight guy at heart. I spent a good portion of my career in that before I got onto the services side and technology side. So it's, and we represent a lot of refrigerated carriers as well. So, and warehouses. So,
until we went down this path, I didn't realize just how many companies touch the cold chain. So
cold chain's massive. And when you think about it from a supply chain standpoint, all of your groceries that are perishable are not all of them, but a lot of them have to do with some sort of temp control. Not to mention a lot of things that you don't even realize, like a pharmaceutical. And when you get into $20 million loads of pills that have to be temp controlled and managed appropriately and under a certain humidity and whatnot, and then you go into the warehouse side of that, the amount of tech that's around that to get it done right, to measure, to ensure that the integrity of the order is in place is crazy. then you start realizing exactly what sort of volumes are shipped in this space, and it's pretty wild. So it's and it's getting to be more advanced as we, are. I don't want to go on too far this road, but you used to look at Thanksgiving turkeys. They were shipped a year before they were actually delivered to the consumer. Back when I moved freight, that is not the case today necessarily across the board, but we're advancing that supply chain a lot, and it'll be interesting to walk through that pavilion. So
yeah.
You had talked a little bit when we were chatting earlier on in the week. You had talked a little bit about mini manifest. So what do you got cooking there? I know that doesn't have to do with our February event, but what have you done along the lines of mini manifests?
Yeah. So our attendees have so much fun in Vegas. And again, gave us the feedback that they want an opportunity to get together at times separate from Manifest. So my colleague Pam Simon, who was one of the original founders of Manifest, started small and did some events 2 years ago in both Miami and then one in New York. And we've since gone on to do these, what we call mini manifests, just informal gatherings, similar to what you guys are doing at Freight Movement, just to bring people together. So I had one a few months ago in Boston, where I'm based. We're doing a few like in LA, California. We're looking to potentially do one in Chicago. I'm from Minnesota. I don't know if you know that, but
I didn't.
Yeah, yeah. The next time I'm home, thinking of maybe doing something in Minneapolis. So yeah.
Well, let us know on that. We'll help it come together. So that's pretty.
Be in Boston right before Manifest, Katie.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. I'm competing the day before. We'll be in Worcester technically, but.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I live south of Boston, so but I used to live right in the heart of Boston, and Worcester is a really cool city. You'll enjoy competing
there.
there.
And then West Boylston, I think, is another part of the event. Yeah, that will be over that area but then we compete on Saturday and then literally drive to Boston Logan and fly out on Sunday to Manifest.
Oh wow. Okay. So maybe we'll be on the same flight from Boston because I'm flying on Sunday too. Yeah.
Speaking of Bain,
sorry, we got a little off topic.
Oh, no, that's okay. So speaking of Bain, I mean, we always get off topic. That's not a problem. We should just do a podcast that's called Off Topic and go that way. So, but no, I think Bain, you got a panel that you're doing at Manifest as well. I think we have a slide on that if we want to pop it when you can. But tell us what you're talking about.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about supply chain transformation. Certainly AI is going to be a part of that. Yeah. I mean, and what a panel. Like, you look at the companies that are represented, and I got a chance to meet John, Doug, Daryl, and Miguel. Very humbling to be on the same call as guys, let alone be able to share the stage. So super excited for this. It'll be Tuesday at 3:20. I don't know which of the rooms it'll be in. I know it'll be one of the meeting rooms, but last year I also hosted a panel on cross-border. It was super fun, very timely too. I think 3 days before the panel is when a lot of the tariffs were announced. So we got to talk about that and how that was very impactful. Nate, you were there, and it was packed. I was standing room only. So yeah, I'm excited for this, and I believe we'll have something similar just based on, again, the companies represented. And I think some of my jokes landed pretty well last year, so hopefully we're able to do that again. So.
Well, yeah, you had a few people on the panel that helped. So
they did.
So Katie, on your side, let's talk about, okay, we're all done. What does success of Manifest look like? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so it goes back to the connections. So a lot of what we do is to track the number of connections that are made at Manifest. I love hearing the stories after the fact of, hey, I sat next to this person, and because of that chance meeting, this deal happened. to me, that's the real true measure of success, the amount of people that we're able to connect, whether it's, in a formal meeting or, a chance meeting at the after party, and kind of everything in between. That's, for us, that's what it looks like.
No, that's perfect. I think everybody has their own success criteria, but I mean, is there a story that resonates with you above and beyond all others?
So there's so many to choose from. I would say there are a lot of startups, and I won't name any specific ones, that in year 2 went to an office hours meeting and had an opportunity to pitch their idea to one of the investors that were there, and now 2-3 years later have come back and said, you know what, that introduction that you facilitated for me as, an early startup is what made all the difference. Maybe it wasn't money invested, but it was advice that they gave me, or direction that they put me in. Those to me are the stories that stand out. And then you have, of course, the big deals that,
Sure.
that happen that everyone knows about. And, I'm sure there's a few, love connections and best friend connections that have happened there as well that that maybe we don't want to call out, but that, people hold dear to themselves. And I love that as well.
I can call out one of the cool success stories I've heard. At the first manifest, Matt Fain from Pop Capacity down in Atlanta, he came, walked the floor, didn't have a booth or anything. Now, I mean, he's got a staff in the double digits. They've got warehousing. They're kind of like a Airbnb for warehousing. And shameless plug for Matt. I mean, I'm friends with him. But watching that success and watching, how he's able to work the floor, and he's come back to every manifest that I've seen. And they're bigger. They have more people. They've had booths, and that success has been really incredible to watch. Year over year. I watch them now, be a player in the space when it comes to warehousing and to storage. So super cool. And again, I met him at the first manifest at Paris.
Yeah, that goes back to your point about having a plan, though. Like, he came with a plan, and
right.
Look at what it did.
Yep.
Yeah. You don't plan, you're planning to lose, I guess. But Matt actually, I think, was at our freight movement event in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or Pop Capacity was for sure. So but yeah, I mean, the plan is everything, right? And your plan can be, I'm just going to learn and I'm just going to wander through and figure it out. So then next year you can bring 5 people or whatever the case may be. Obviously, we're bringing, last year it was 3 of us. Now this year is 5 of us. So we could easily bring more, but it's how many are you actually going to bring, I guess. So, but five is quite a few for us. So that's a statement being made. So, all right. So we're coming up on time. What do you want to talk about last, Katie?
I don't know.
Okay. I've got something.
You know what you want to talk?
So,
okay.
Yeah. Well, if you didn't have anything that jumped up, so
Okay.
Or was, I don't know, a general? I guess I probably cut you off too fast. So did you have a thought?
I mean, I can continue to go over the same, like, know what you're gonna wear and all that kind of stuff, but
yeah,
sure
that's so. Out of all other conferences, I've had more conversations with people about what they're wearing to manifest. I don't ever have that conversation with anyone outside. We're having an event and it's 1920s themed. So I'm wearing a zoot suit. I think Bain's got a zoot suit. So you don't have to dress up, but some people are. And most of the, I think most of the GLCS, if not all of the GLCS crew and the freight movement crew, are all dressing up. So, but I have more conversations about what people are wearing at Manifest. So it's, that's a significant topic at this conference.
It's kind of becoming like the Met Gala of logistics. Right?
That's where I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've got a new sport coat for every single one. It's the only time I wear a sport coat really is at Manifest.
The blue, you got more shades of blue, or is it? I
sent you the one for this year. You got to be there to see it, unless you can see pictures after it. But it's
that's right. You did tell me that. Yeah.
And it is snug.
Yeah, fair enough. So what's next for Manifest then? What do you guys have going on? What's any plans that you can talk about for the future? And we'll wrap up on that question.
Yeah, so Manifest is growing, and there are serious plans to go across the pond. There will be an official announcement at Manifest, but Manifest Europe is gonna happen. So my leaders will probably kill me for saying that, but it'll be announced. It'll be announced at Manifest.
Fair enough.
But this has been in the works for a long time, and now that that we were acquired, I think most people know we were acquired by the Hive Group mid last year. They've given us the support and the infrastructure, and as you know, the Manifest team brings the enthusiasm. So now that we have now that we have the support, we're all guns blazing, and we're super excited to go to Europe.
Well, that's very exciting. So that's a whole nother footprint, a whole nother topic. The supply chain in Europe is certainly different than the US. So many people think it's very similar. It's like 80-20, right? So, but that 20% is significantly different than here. So,
yeah.
If you guys need private security, I know a guy.
There we go. Yeah, no,
All
I'm
right.
excited. When I was at MIT, we ventured to Europe as well. So, I'm
perfect. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about that one and how it evolves going forward. So, we might even have to fly over and attend to see what it looks like. So,
for sure.
how can people find you, Katie? What's your socials?
LinkedIn is the best place to find me. Very simple, Katie Date. Lovely picture with a red blazer. I'm easy to find. If you want to find me at Manifest, I always have a bright colored suit on. I haven't, talking about fashion, narrowed down the exact bright colored suits that I will be wearing, but between the hair not clashing, it will be bright. So
Totally get that. Totally understand.
Yeah.
The clashing hair. You're in your case, it's beard hair.
The clashing beard.
So, but yeah, I used to wear pink shirts to every conference, like hot pink shirts. I stopped doing that though because I don't need to anymore. So I get noticed anyway. I'm a very big guy, so I'm very tall. And or not very. There's certainly people that we know that are taller, but I'm a presence, so people can usually find me and they find Bain just fine. So I don't need the pink shirt anymore. But it worked for years. I still have 5 of the exact same pink shirts, so they're the exact same thing. So, but Katie, I appreciate you coming on today. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks. We'll definitely get you tickets for our event, and we'll get you the good ones so you can.
All right, I look forward to it. I might have to
relive your
bring my
Minnesota
flapper
roots.
dress.
There you go, flapper dress. That's perfect. So looking forward to it. Don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything, and if there's any other questions about how to make Manifest successful. I won't hesitate to point them to you if they want to
come my way.
Perfect. Well, thanks for coming on. Bain, we can wrap this one up together. So, all right. So a couple of weeks we'll be there. You've got a big thing you were alluding to beforehand. So what do you got going on?
Yeah, we got Holy Wars coming up. It's a big powerlifting event in, I guess it's West Boylston, Massachusetts, right outside of Boston. Myself and my girlfriend Dakota are going to be competing. Big numbers on deck again. We'll more likely she'll be taking a swing at a over 700-pound squat. She's lined up to be not, I believe, 38th woman ever to do that, which is super cool. And we're looking very, very good for that. She's looking for a really nice total, probably close to 1,500 pounds, if not over. I've got a really good shot in a 1,200-pound squat, but also the all-time world record at a 275. So that would be nobody in my weight class ever would have squatted more than that. So, and if things come together the way they might, yeah, 2,600 pound total is not out of the question. And with that, that would be a top 10 all time in the weight class and top 40 all time, all weight classes. So it's
Crazy.
it's a lot of cool stuff, and it's you know, a very stacked roster, and we're really excited about it.
Crazy. Well, you'll have to keep us posted if there's a way we can watch. We'll try watching on Saturday. So
there'll be a live stream, and then be at the event on Monday because myself and Dakota will both be there. So
looking forward to it. So
absolutely.
All right. Well, whether you're a carrier, a broker, a shipper, or a tech team trying to solve some real problems, take what you heard today and turn it into action. Show up to Manifest prepared, or any conference. This really applies to any conference, any show, any summit. Show up prepared, stay curious, make the connections, do the follow through. The future supply chain isn't going to be decided by hype. It's going to be decided by the people that are willing to do the work. So thanks for joining us today. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Until next time, drive forward with purpose and innovation. Thanks for watching.